I'll ask you what I ask you both the time. The takeaways from this one.
Well, I'm obviously much better from the first 20 minutes the other night. I mean, way better. So that was what was most important to me and our staff, just making sure that was visible, clear. These are hard things when you got to play them 2 times in a row. Usually you'd have 3 weeks in between and you'd learn from that first game and have time to practice. We did that in the limited time we did, and I think the things that we stressed and as limited practice things, our guys were actually better at it. Their foundational, fundamental things, I think, were better. And, like I just told our guys, we're going to use these first 10 games. We're going to use San Diego State, Utah State, and Boise State as the model. We just ran through those two. We just played all those teams twice. Usually we would have only just played them once. We just ran through those best teams, and we are not going to put our heads in the sand and not know that they're the best teams in this league, and they're the best teams in this league for a reason. And they play in a way, and we're going to use them as the model to know, well, this is what we got to do here, using our heads the way that we're going to do it. But there has to be sort of like a crazy. There's got to be like a good crazy. I call it a good crazy. You got to have a good craziness about you to go ahead and embark on this challenge. And we're going to use those programs because those programs are the top of this league, and we just went through them. And if we do, well, then we're going to practice in a way that uses those 3 programs, and we're going to work to get our tails better so that we meet and learn how to, in this process, what the process we have, we make progress along those lines.
How much of that progress is identifying different bodies, too? I would think Joe Octave obviously stood out tonight in what he gave you, that he'd be instantly better if these guys not buy into, but if they hear the instruction and implement it and get on the floor.
No question about it. And Joe, obviously if I threw Joe in there, I've seen some better things from him in practice. He's doing a good job, and that's part of this process, so, but again, he needs to be drilled in it. I got to make sure that, again, like I said, these games have shown, like, there's a roadmap. The roadmap's been given to us by those teams, and we're going to practice in that way, and those guys are going to have those time in practice, and we're going to build in that direction. But there's no question he, along with some others, and then along those lines, those guys that have been playing the bulk of the minutes, they have to learn from the experience. Like I thought we fought today, we played well, and these teams make you, play in a way where for 40 minutes, you got to do that all the time. Then you train yourself how to make those shots when you're open. You know what I mean? It's like muscle memory. And we're going through that right now because when you play these teams, they defend, and you need the muscle memory of playing that way all the time. And then you know what you do? You make those shots. And, at certain times tonight, we had those open shots off of good possessions, and, we didn't make them. But 16 assists, 13 turnovers is a huge improvement. And if we keep moving that basketball, which we stressed after the other one, that's our offense. Move that ball, and we moved it better, and we keep doing that, then you will get to the point where it's 16, 17, 19 assists, and we're lowering our turnovers as we go through it because that's a huge part of it. And but, those older guys have to, step up in game after game, figure out, like we said before, be consistent, play well. And if we can add Octave and a guy or two along with that, then that's part of this process and the progress.
And can Mason Taylor be one of those other guys or two? What do you need to see from him to make him play consistently?
Well, there are things that, go on. And again, I think there's a way now that we've played these teams, that have shown what it is we have to do sort of defensively and offensively, that now at this juncture we can move forward in a way where we're practicing in a way that just constantly giving them that opportunity to grow, to be put in those situations. So that's what I mean by it's a process. It doesn't happen on day one. Probably if we had played, your normal 10 or 11 non-conference games, that would have helped in this whole process. But again, in this year, everything's different. So, at this juncture, I'm glad we played these games. We played those teams twice, and those teams have showed us, and those teams have shown Joe Octave. He was if he wasn't in, he was watching. Mason, if he's not in, he's watching. When you're a player and it's important to you, you can learn by watching. And then we go to work and practice with what we're going to do. Then those guys are going to have their opportunities to step up and show, right, that they're the kinds of guys that we need to compete in this league with those three. And I'm not just singling those three teams out. They're just at the top of the league right now.
Thanks. Hey, Coach, Nick Jackson's putting a solid couple games together. What do you think that's kind of made it click with him?
Well, again, this is not easy, Jake, and anybody, I think everybody knows what this challenge at Air Force is in basketball. It is hard. It is a big-time challenge, and like I said, you got to be a little crazy. And what I've seen from Nick here is we've gone through played these games, and he's playing against them. He's taking in the coaching, and he's taking in that experience he's having on the court, and he's putting both of them together, and you're seeing a little uptick and a rise in sort of his, I would just say his sort of presence, his activity level. You're noticing him. We got to keep doing what we're going to do in practice, preparing, and if he's got that screw loose a little bit up there, and he uses his brain, and when I say that, it's like it's good crazy. Like, you're going to use your brain. You're going to use our standards. You're going to use who we are and what we believe in to help guide that. Then you'll see him keep growing in that direction. And we need others to come along in the same thing. Like Brent just said, we need to point to another 2 or 3 guys that are moving along in that direction. And that's what, after playing these first 10, that's what these next 10 are going to be about. And we'll see how we do in those next 10.
There's one other question for you. Van Solon, why does he get these minutes? It looks like he's struggling a little bit out there. Is he trying to find himself, or, are you trying to have him work out of it with the minutes? Or
yeah.
Just explain.
Good question. Good question. And don't think, what do you think I was asking myself all night after the game Friday and Saturday? And that's the challenge of this schedule, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to figure out how do I get Keaton to come along. Like, he was playing so much better a month ago. If we saw him at Nevada when we won on the road, he was playing so much different. So I've seen that, and I'm trying to figure out what's the button, how do I get him to play better? He's got to do it, and it might be lightening the load. It might be, hey, watch a little. It might be what we did with Meek earlier in the year. Hey, you watch a little bit, and I think that helped Meek, and he's come in and he's become a little bit more consistent. But we do have to find that button, and it could be to your, what your question is. There might be too many minutes right now for him, and that's okay, because the main thing is whatever that number of minutes is, if it's 22, if it's 32, they have to be good minutes for us, and so I got to keep figuring it out. And it's front and center, but it's definitely part of the whole team thing, that, okay, well, then this guy can come in and help, and maybe doing some along the lines is going to help an Octave and a Taylor come along. So that's all part of this process, but you're right on the button in the point of the question. But last time I said, I believe in him, and I know he's played well, you know what I mean? So just got to get him back to seeing that Keaton Van Solon, and that's the trick right now.
Yeah, I got you, Joe. Okay. So talking to Coach, he talked, obviously the minutes you had here will probably help your growth, but he talked more about just seeing what a San Diego State is like, playing against them, but also seeing them from the bench and playing, just kind of seeing what that kind of blueprint looks like. Do you think that's true as you move forward now that you've kind of seen San Diego State, Boise State, some of these teams that will help your growth?
Definitely, because, we've had probably the toughest conference schedule thus far. So I feel like going into these next few games, to finish off the year, we're just going to go out and we're going to compete. And, I feel like it definitely did, help, playing against those teams because, seeing when we go play San Jose State this week, we're going to be sharper, we're going to play harder, we're going to see how they play, and that's going to help us.
And being a Southern California guy, I mean, was San Diego State ever a school that interested you? Would you have wanted an offer down there? What was your perspective with them?
Like growing up, I was a big fan with Kawhi Leonard and things like that, but they recruited me a little bit, but I'm in the right place. I'm happy to be here, and I love competing against them. So.
Have you shown yourself anything in the minutes you've had? Especially tonight. You played some good basketball in the time you were in. Does that boost your confidence to know you can do that against a team like that?
Definitely. I'm a confident guy already, but playing against a team like San Diego State, last year they were one of the top teams in the country. This year they're a top team in the conference. So I know that I can go out there and compete and impact the team and hopefully get us more wins in the future.
And, as you look at the team, I mean, do you feel like some of the younger guys are ready to start playing more minutes? You, Mason Taylor, just to kind of shake things up and give Air Force a different look?
Definitely, we go out there every day in practice, we compete. Coach talks about that craziness, and I feel like we both have it, and we just want to continue just to make an impact, things like that.
What does that mean to you, the craziness? How do you define that?
You just have to work harder than the other team. Like you can't let up at any point. You have to. I wouldn't say look down on your opponent, but you can't show them any respect in that aspect. You just have to go out, run your stuff, cut hard, play defense hard, be in a stance at all times. And then from there, I think we'll definitely see production.
And did you have a little moment on the floor tonight where you had some words for, I don't know who it was from San Diego State, but was there a little conflict out there?
They were talking a lot, they were pushing things like that. So I just had to let them know, like, I'm not about that. So there was a little bit.
Is that an attitude you think you'll be able to bring to the team in the years to come?
Oh, definitely. I'm a hardworking guy, just I feel like that's that Southern California mentality. So I just want to go out there, not put the team on my back, but just really show, even though I'm a young guy, that we're just going to go out there and we're going to compete and not let anybody, step over us and things like that.